having birthdays today, Thursday, September the 4th. Real quick, let me shift gears over to celebrity news and see what we got going on in celebrity news. Definitely got to say, get well soon to my man Kevin Hart. If you don't know, he was in a major car accident over the weekend, and he just got back surgery to stabilize his back. So y'all definitely keep him in your prayers. Man, I got to say, the world has been a funnier place. It's been a funnier place with my man Kevin Hart. So definitely speedy recovery to my man Kevin Hart. Man, if you get a chance, go check out pictures of the car, man. It's amazing that my man Kevin Hart is still amongst us, because that car is completely jacked up, man. So speedy recovery to my man K Hart. Gotta say, my man NBA Youngboy was just released from jail. Well, it seems like right now the court is only allowing him to go to church, the doctor, and the bank. So church, doctor, and the bank for my man NBA Youngboy until further notice. Also, man, my man Lil Durk, he was just released. He has a pending case coming up. Well, the judge is allowing him to get back on the road, do shows, and make him some money. Probably because a large amount of that money will be going into lawyer fees. All right? Gotta say one time and get well soon to my man Wiz Khalifa. My man Wiz Khalifa stays in that gym, on the boxing, on that bag, and MMA. Well, it seems like he just hurt his ankle doing an intense MMA training. So speedy recovery to my man Wiz Khalifa. Hurry back to the music scene. All right, one time my man T.I., Cardi B, and Chance the Rapper, they have a brand new show on Netflix that will be looking for new talent. It will be a weekly show, and so definitely check that out, man. So now Netflix is definitely getting into the, as I call it, the musical reality standpoint of things. Also, man, one time for Wu-Tang Clan to have a documentary on Hulu. So if you get a chance, I think it's a 4-part series. It's called Wu-Tang and American Saga. Check it out if you're, have Hulu. So definitely love to see when hip-hop is constantly doing this thing when it comes to the big and small screen. So one time for the Wu-Tang Clan, one of my favorite groups of all time. And I can't wait to see the whole Wu-Tang Clan saga. All right, gotta say one time, my man Pharrell Williams, he just launched a campaign called This Is Her Time. And it's a campaign celebrating women. I can't wait to see how he uplifts women, because Pharrell is definitely known to do some amazing things when it comes to benefits and his activism in the community. So I can't wait to see this campaign. And this is weird, but one time my man Malik Yoba has come out and let people know that he is attracted to trans women. All right? Malik Yoba has came out and admitted that he is attracted to trans women. So, and he said a lot of people are actually supporting him, and him admitting this and coming out and saying this. So we're going to keep you posted, see what type of backlash. Because speaking of backlash, my man Jeezy is receiving backlash because he is now dating Jenny from The Real, and a lot of his African American female fans are definitely dragging him. And I thought love was blind. So Jeezy, do your thing. If you love her, she loves you. Do your thing, big dog. Last but not least, man, if you are a fan of Power and you realize on episodes 1 and episodes 2 of season 6 that song just didn't sound the same, well, yes, my man 50 Cent replaced the original Power theme song by my man Joe with my man Trey Songz. But due to heavy backlash from the internet, because the internet is undefeated, look for the original Power song featuring my man Joe to reappear this week. All right. Now, like I told you guys that today was September the 4th. Well, today is National Newspaper Carrier Day. All right? National Newspaper Carrier Day is September the 4th. It recognizes the dedicated newspaper carriers who deliver the news in the wee hours of the morning. All right, so how you observe Newspaper Carrier Day is show your newspaper carrier a little extra appreciation. All right? Give them a box of chocolates, a card, a simple thank you. Help brighten their day. All right, now, if you do participate, and we got a couple more, we got one more hour before the day is over, make sure you hashtag National Newspaper Carrier Day. All right, one time for all the newspaper carriers out there. All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I just gave you guys a little celebrity news. I told you today is National Newspaper Carrier Day. I also told you about my amazing sponsors, as well as let you know who's celebrating birthdays today. Now it's time for me to do what I enjoy doing most, and that's bring you the word on the street. That's bring you the people that are definitely doing their thing through activism, through music, through entertainment, through art. And tonight is no different than any other night on the Ridin Durty show. So welcome to the Ridin Durty platform, singer, producer, my man, Quis Hart. What's going on, my G?
What it do, man? What's going on, baby? How you feeling tonight, man?
Man, I'm feeling great, man. Today is National Newspaper Carrier Day, so I'm definitely going to leave a little card for my newspaper carrier in the morning.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So, let's take this journey, man. Let's take this journey. First and foremost, I got to ensure that I did properly say your name.
Yeah, absolutely. You definitely said it correct. Quis Hart is definitely the name. You know what I mean? You said it properly. So that definitely wasn't a problem at all. You did your thing on that.
All right, now, the next question I got to ask you is, let the people, let the fans, let the people who are just tuning in or about to learn about you know where you're from and what was your introduction to the music business.
Well, I go by the name of Quis Hart. I'm actually from South Jersey. I'm from South Jersey. And the way that I was introduced to music is kind of like through my father. You know, I grew up in a household where my father sung, my aunt sung. And I kind of took to music and got inspired by it through my father. So that's how that whole music thing actually came about, starting from my father.
Okay, now you say your father sung. What was he the type of singer who sang just throughout the house, or was he actually pursuing a music career?
He actually, he did a little. My aunts were actually into it more than what my father was. You know, he sung throughout the house. He never recorded a record. You know, my father would sing at certain places. He would do weddings and things of that nature, but he never, you know, took it to the aspect that I took it too far as recording. You know, but it was my father at the end of the day, and that's what ultimately where it came from. So, you know, like I said, that's how it was established for me.
All right, now, growing up in a household where you had a father who was singing as well as introducing you to music, what was some of the music he was playing around the house that made you inspired to do music?
At that time, it was a lot of older guys, you know, Kenny Lattimore's, Keith Washington, Peebo Bryson, you know, great singers, legendary individuals with beautiful voices.
All right, now, out of all the people you listen to, if you had to say you had a favorite, who would be your favorite
vocalist? That's a kind of tough thing. When I say favorite as vocalist though, my favorite would be J Moss. You know, when it comes to different things as production, you know, I like individuals like Ryan Leslie. For different categories, you know, there's different things. But for that, ultimately, as a vocalist, I love J Moss. He has a phenomenal voice. Range is incredible, you know, out of this world. So he's like the father of music to me. You know, and he's a gospel singer. You know, I'm into the world of R&B, but as a vocalist, you know, I'm very into J Moss.
All right, no doubt. Now, when did you decide to, you know, growing up and, you know, looking up to your father, when did you decide to, you know what, I'm going to step out and do my thing when it comes to singing and letting people hear my talent?
Well, actually, how that came about, you know, my father, he did his singing thing throughout the family, throughout the household. It came to a point where, you know, my mother and him separated, so that was, you know, no longer relevant to me anymore. You know, what happened was, I started venturing off myself. You know, I listened to a lot of great music that he shared with me when I was speaking upon, you know, the Keith Washingtons and the Kenny Lattimores and other guys of that nature. I started venturing off a little bit and, you know, getting into my world a little bit. And there was a artist at the time, you know, by the name of Sammy. And Sammy was the youngest guy around the time who was really doing music, you know, in my era, you know, at that timing. So I seen Sammy, and it kind of like inspired me a little bit extra more into to have the guts to want to record and, you know, to step in that aspect, you know, from my father who's inspired me to kind of like, you know, to get into it. But once I heard, you know, Sammy, it was kind of like something that, you know, I felt like it was possible for kids at that age to do. So, you know, I started getting into that, and I happened to wind up dealing with Ridin from Boyz II Men. So that's kind of like how that happened.
All right, now when you say Sammy, are you talking about Sammy after ATL?
Yeah, Sammy after ATL. Yeah, at that time, you know, Sammy, he was the only artist who was like doing his thing in that era of, you know, of my era anyway. So far as a kid, you know, Sammy made it to me to make it believe it was possible.
All right, definitely one time to Sammy. Sammy's actually been on the show. He's definitely doing his thing. I think he's definitely still doing music. I think he's changed his name now. I can't remember to what name he's going by, but he's definitely still doing his thing on the ATL scene.
Shout out to Sam.
All right, so now I gotta ask, being from Jersey, what are the opportunities like for, especially because Jersey is definitely known for its hip hop, you know, acts like Queen Latifah, Naughty by Nature, just to name a few. But what is the like when it comes to being an independent artist pursuing R&B or singer-songwriter?
Right. In my area, South Jersey, to be honest, on an honest aspect, you know, it's very limited to the opportunities when it comes to music. You know, Hartthrob music, you know, that's what kind of like what we bring. We have some great individuals that came from, you know, South Jersey, you know, Gina Thompson, who did her thing as well from here, from this aspect, Young Steph also. But more so the opportunity is not really like a big outlet for music. You know, I've done a lot of things in Philly and other places, you know, so more so that's what we're really, you know, indulging to trying to create for the youth and others that's among here, you know, that doesn't have that outlet and doesn't have that, you know, so we try to really create that for those individuals at this point. But, you know, we definitely don't have too much of an outlet here, ultimately.
All right, now, being an independent
so we
artist...
definitely, you know, we're at the point where we...
No doubt. So being an independent artist who might not have all the outlets that, you know, that it takes to make it, what would be your advice? Right. What would be your advice to, you know, other artists out there? Because there are millions of artists out there, and as what we like to call small town USA, want to pursue a career in music. What advice would you have for artists who are in smaller areas when it comes to their pursuit of their dream?
Right. First and foremost, I just want to say with anything that you're doing, you know, put God first, you know, and on a business aspect, you know, research your paperwork. You know, it's a business out here at the end of the day. You know, first and foremost, you know, we all come from, you know, the aspect of just, you know, being inspired by others and just really wanting to do it. But ultimately, you know, a lot of artists forget the aspect of this is a business that's being conducted, you know, outside of how much how passionate you are with something within your heart. So I think it's very important for people to understand that aspect, you know. So when, like I said, you'll keep your faith, you know, believe, and just continue to push. And ultimately, you'll get where you want to get, you know.
All right. Now, I have to ask this, my man, because when I look over your resume and I look at your body of work, man, you've been able to secure features from artists like Jadakiss, Oskino.
Right.
How have you been able to maneuver and secure features from major artists but still be an independent artist?
Right. I think ultimately, you know, it's about the music, and, you know, outside of the music, it's just creating them great relationships with individuals. You know, you meet certain people and, you know, they're able to direct you in certain other places, you know, when you're coming through, you know, in a certain form of fashion. And like I said, you know, those things that took place and those features that happened were great situations that took place. I'm thankful for those. But ultimately, like I said, great relationships, you know, being consistent with the music, just making great music, ultimately. You know what I mean? It was a pleasure having these certain features and these certain guys upon these records to even engage into taking these records. You know, I've dreamed about having records with these certain individuals that I choose to work with. And, yeah, I mean, they even do videography as well. So it's such a blessing.
All right, how do you balance being an artist and being a videographer? Because I know you're definitely into, you know, doing videos as well.
Right. it's kind of like, ultimately it's about the art, I believe. I started as a singer. From singing, I turned into not only a singer, I turned into a songwriter. And it's crazy too, not to get off topic, but I actually started writing because of Wanye Morris from Boyz II Men. What happened was one time we was in a studio session, and we were working on a record, and we both was writing. So he wound up taking what I wrote, before what he took, and that kind of like took me in a whole nother level. But I say that to say, from that, I got the placement with Case that's futuristic, that's relevant, that's now. So from that aspect, but like I said, it's just a part of the art. You learn one thing, you learn into another thing. Sometimes God give you, He might give you two gifts. If you utilize those two gifts and you push forth and you push effort, they turn into four gifts. You understand? So that's kind of like that whole thing with that, with the whole art thing. But in the same sense, you got to do your research. You got to get into that whole aspect, to understand these certain type of things as well. And with the video, it kind of came naturally. Like I'm into fashion. I'm just into that whole art thing. So it's like I said, it makes it that much better with being the composer or, also the singer. So it kind of gives the visualization, it comes that much easier to kind of see it. And it gives another perspective to it, ultimately. So it's kind of like a great thing. I didn't think that I would take to it the way that I did, but I actually like it a whole lot more than what I thought I would. And my first camera that was bought, it was bought actually for me. It didn't work out with the guy who was supposed to hold it, and that was fine, so I guess it took me to the heights to where it is now. I'm actually, utilizing it for a better purpose. You know what I mean?
All right.
Same purpose actually, but
all right. Now, what do you prefer better, the stage or the studio?
I'm like man, the stage is like my second home. Studio, you gotta create. You gotta go to the studio first. It's a domino effect. You know what I mean? You gotta hit the studio first, then you hit the stage with the song. So I appreciate everything that's involved into the whole creativity. I like the creative part. So I say I love the studio, but I also love the stage. It's kind of like I'm into both, to be honest with you. But it's a process. You got to create first before you can present. I'll take this stage as somewhere that you present what you got going on. You know what I mean?
No doubt, no doubt. Now, I have to ask, what do you have for the ladies and your female fan base?
What do I have for the ladies?
Yeah, your female fan base. How will you captivate the ladies?
I'm a singer. I'm a singer. I just speak upon, dealing with Boyz II Men. So, dealing with that caliber of individuals, with vocalists. I sing to the ladies. I happen to have a humble and sex appeal for the ladies as well, so we're here. You know what I mean? Hartthrob music, baby.
All right. Tell me, before we get to the single, tell me a little bit about Hartthrob Music, its insertion, what made you start the company, and other artists that might be affiliated.
Right. This whole idea came about, I kind of started the Hartthrob Music, just the concept of the name earlier in like the early 2013s. I had been away from music for a while, being into different groups and things of that nature, always being affiliated with different companies or different people, but they would never manifest and, ultimately turn out to what I wanted them to turn out to be. So I gave people my loyalty to the point to the wheels fell off and there was nothing left to do. I kind of got to a point, I kind of got tired of that, and I kind of reached out to a partner from school, and we had a talk, we had a sit down, and I had things going on at the time. He had a few things going on, so we started to, we decided that we were gonna come together and create this whole Hartthrob movement, and from that point to now, that's what we've been doing. After we came and sat down, we talked about it, said what we was gonna do. We just got to it and got straight to work, So this is the point that we at right now. So that's what kind of like established and started that whole aspect.
All right. So look, let's get into this new single, because I definitely want to end the interview by playing the joint. But tell me a little bit about about the single True Life. Who produced it? What's the concept?
Okay, True Life. I produced the record. I wrote the record myself. That whole aspect is basically, is what I'm talking about. The concept of that is just speaking upon, going through trials and tribulations in life. Sometimes people go through things and they think it's the end of the world. That you can't overcome things at that point when you're in that stage, and you don't really always ultimately see the greater thing out of that. And and that's what I'm speaking upon, is that no matter what you're going through, ultimately you can overcome it. I spoke at a stage where I talked about the issues and what bothered me, but I also spoke upon on how grateful I was, and I felt comfortable to speak about this. I called it a testimony. So when you go through things and, really overcome them, then you can speak upon them, and it makes you, valuable to others. Now it's like, somebody else is going through something, you're able to speak upon, and tell them, it'll be all right, you'll get through this. So ultimately, like I said, just talking about that, what I overcame, what was a certain point in a certain time of my life on something that I went through.
All right, definitely, no doubt. All right, because I definitely want you to introduce the record to the world, but before we do, tell me, how have social media and the internet affected your career, and how can the people find you all over the World Wide Web?
You said how it affected my career?
Yes.
Ultimately, with that, it's using the internet, you can send out positivity. With the internet nowadays, that's why we're here. We talking right now as we doing it. We utilizing these platforms to speak our piece, on every aspect, and the beauty of it is there's waves. You speak positivity as in the form of a wave. That's a great frequency that's being touched right now. So you can be able to touch the fans and touch people across the world, in a positive aspect. So that's the beauty of the social media aspect, and how it's been an asset to me.
All right. And tell the people how they can find you.
Oh, how they can find me? Oh, sorry about that. Y'all can find me at www.harththrobmusic.com. You can also find me at www.quishart.com. You can find me on Instagram at Quis Hart. You can find me on Facebook at Quis Hart. You can find me on YouTube at Quis Hart. True Life on there as well. Other great records also. You can find me even also on Twitter at Quis Hart.
All right.
Just Google me.
No doubt. Do me a favor and introduce this joint to the world.
What it do, man? What it is? It's your boy Quis Hart. We got the new exclusive joint ready for you live now, right here. True Life. Give it up, baby.
Appreciate it, my G.
It's your boy Quis Hart. Hartthrob Studios. Turn the beat up, rock and heat up. Keep this real
60 seconds.
That's with a kid, passed down from my father. 428, birth as my father. Wasn't trying to mimic the bullshit of my father. So it's only right a nigga had to grind harder. Don't get me wrong. He taught a young nigga alive. Don't get me wrong. R.I.P. to my pops. Don't get me wrong. He was official in the start, but it's a lot of shit I ain't agree with. Like, should I have to down? He's fucking around. Beating my mom. Was in the arms. Now it's wearing the scars. All in the arms. Waking over you. Wasn't loving you. Then we broke apart. Damn, it broke my heart. But Jesus was the death for me. But nothing but a better me. I guess it was a test for me. Now I'm speaking my testimony.
10 seconds.
Religion teams I'm in. Really than these true religion teams I'm in. Really than these true religion teams I'm in. Like really than these true religion teams I'm in. Damn, niggas taking my brother. Definition of a hustler. Same father and mother. Damn, how you flex on my brother? A boy to a man. Right around then. I need him the most. Do it in any bar. How I'm supposed to live? Feel like I'm gonna die. She was talking me with all this to the street. Can't sing it, can't run a little through the street. So hard, shit got harder. I ain't see you in a while, but we linked up. The pops on the strength of his deathbed. Like a tangerine shot, put that shit every 6 kids. Family broke apart, damn it broke my heart. Validity, true religion, Jesus, man. Validity, true religion, Jesus, man. Like validity, true religion, Jesus, man. Grandmother, something like a mother, strong like a father, put nothing above ya, wishing you was here, hitting you with a jewel, telling me how to have kept my ass in school, running in and out, you're heating the outside, damn I remember, what about your child, the best kid on the planet, it's like yo, for your grandkids, the only ones that know, oh, this is nothing your grandson, my common time, my one and my only one, I fell in love with you and my only one. Get the family alive just like a fine family school. Damn, we broke apart. Damn, it broke my heart. But these are going to tell for me. Feel nothing but a better me. I guess it was a test for me. Now I'm speaking my testimony.
One time for my man, Quis Hart. Alright, the name of that joint was True Life. It's your boy Big XL, Ridin Durty Radio presents Ridin Durty Podcast. Alright? Y'all have a great night, man. Alright?
Fight the back on anything crossing the line goes. You feel me? We gon' love. When the left out our chest, we gon' hard rock. You hear me? We gon' hard rock. You hear me? So we don't have a moment of silence, man, for this crowd, man. You feel me? This your groove, man. You hear me? I'll take it down.
Peace, y'all.